Hello, everyone. I'm back with a multi review of several films that I've been lucky enough to see thanks to the gift card that I got for Christmas. By the way, I hope everybody had a fantastic holiday season. I love December, and it's pretty much over now. I will be doing my list of the year's best films, so stay tuned for that video coming soon. All right, so I'm going to start by reviewing Sonic 3. Let's start with that one. Yeah, it's very popular. I think it's number one at the box office. That may have changed by the time you're watching this, of course. However, this film, well, it's pretty good. It's directed by Jeff Fowler, and the old Speedy Blue Hedgehog is back. And while I'm still kind of lukewarm to the whole Sonic trilogy myself, I gotta say this is probably the best one of the bunch. The reason I say that is because this time around, Sonic is well, he's the least bit annoying here. I found him to be a little bit more charming this time around. And also, I mean, Jim Carrey, wow, like he pulls off his best two for one Dr. Robotnik sale here. This performance is fantastic. He's really outdone himself this time. So, people want him back as the Grinch, and people will probably want more Robotnik in the future too, if possible. So, don't retire, Jim. Don't retire. Don't retire yet. The third thing about this, I gotta say, is that Keanu Reeves plays a dark hedgehog named Shadow. And this is a new character that is more empathetic than just, straight up hater of Sonic and his buddies, Tails and Knuckles. And James Marsden is their dad as well, their adoptive father, It's like Alvin and the Chipmunks, kind of. But the Hedgehogs, it's like Sonic and the Hedgehogs. All right, yeah, so it really is Shadow's story, though, that works best here. I gotta say, and Reeves is kind of channeling his inner Mr. Weak. He's kind of John Wicking it up a bit here, and of course he, along with Carrie, steal the show. The pace is very quick, as you'd expect, of course, and the jokes mostly work here too. So it's pretty good. It doesn't fail to satisfy at the end either. So I'm gonna give Sonic 3 an 8 out of 10. Next movie up is going to be the Christmas movie, Red One. This came out a while ago. It's already streamable on Prime Video right now. It's directed by Jake Kasdan, who I like a lot. And I certainly love this cast with J.K. Simmons, Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, and more. So, yeah, you'll see. There's more there. But fantastic cast, certainly, and it's the Christmas season, so of course I wanted to watch it. I actually watched it on Christmas Eve, and it was really silly. It was basically okay. J.K. Simmons, he's buff in this movie. He's been working out with Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and I mean, you basically just could have called this movie Santa with Muscles. But wait, didn't they already make that movie, brother? That's right. Anyway, look, speaking of former wrestlers, Dwayne Johnson, look, he's he's worn out. I gotta say, he's just in everything. But his character here, he's basically phoning in the performance this time around. I'm sorry to say it because I like Dwayne Johnson, but he's Santa's chief of security here, and he must rescue the buff Saint Nick from an evil antagonist who is very forgettable, quite frankly. There's nothing against the actor here, but she's just not that cool. I'm sorry, it's just not very well written. Chris Evans, he's been great in many movies, but he plays this lame thief with a heart of gold, because he's a dad and he's got to look after his son, and he's got to learn the meaning of Christmas, and he's got to get off the naughty list and all this stuff. And yes, there is a naughty list and a nice list in this movie, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it kind of knows that it's ridiculous at the same time. What are you gonna do? I think Lucy Liu is just in there for eye candy, I assume. But anyway, yeah, ridiculous plot and just plenty of nonsense CGI. It's definitely one of the silliest movies I saw all year. So there's a lot of visual effects, kind of overkill, and a lot of nonsense kind of going on here. Some good jokes, I mean, the joke about Well, there's a joke about Wonder Woman, but I won't give it away. But anyway, the point is that it barely works. It's very mediocre as a Christmas movie. I'm gonna give Red One, despite the great cast, a 5 out of 10. The next film I'm going to look at is going to be The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which is directed by Kenji Kamiyama, and this is an animated feature set 183 years before the time of Aragorn and the War of the Ring and everything. This animated story does expand from the appendices that Tolkien wrote about when he was writing about Helm and why that massive gorge, that secure fortress known as Helm's Deep. Why is it called that? Why is it called Helm's Deep? Well, we find out in this movie. And of course, it's half about Helm and the other half is about his daughter and her willingness to do something about the unrelenting attacks, on her house and family by the vengeful but stupid character named Wolf, who's out for vengeance. He's out to avenge his father, who was killed by Helm in a fight. And it's a case of Wolf being the guy in charge because he's the son of Freka, son of the guy who was killed. But he's an emotional idiot, and his second in command is much smarter. He should be the one leading, and he tries to advise his leader, but of course the Wolf doesn't listen to him naturally. Now, this film, it's quite entertaining, for what it is. It's got some impressive action sequences. It is an anime film about Lord of the Rings, so, I just don't really know if people are going to go for it or not. It's kind of a shame it didn't have a better lead villain, but I did like the story of Helm, and this massive guy who's, man, he's almost like Thor, like he's this huge man, and he becomes a legend in this story. So, it's not perfect, of course. There's one or two lapses in logic here, even for a fantasy film like Lord of the Rings. But still, it's a good watch. If you love Lord of the Rings, it's got strong performances by Brian Cox and Gaia Wise and Miranda Otto as well, who played Éowyn in the live-action films. She narrates the story here. I'd also say it's a pretty strong feminist film, without it being like hateful towards men or anything stupid like that. No, it's a true feminist film, I thought. So it's an interesting expansion on an idea. Tolkien purists may not dig it, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. So I'm gonna give The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim a 7 out of 10. All right, next up is Mufasa, the Lion King, directed by Barry Jenkins. Yes, it's a prequel to the terrible. Well, I won't say terrible because people worked on it and they did a good job working on it for what it was, but it was pointless. The pointless remake of the 1994 film, which was classic. They should have just left it alone. It was fine just as it is. That beautiful 2D film with the Elton John songs and everything. It still holds up, quite frankly. I really hated that Lion King remake. Can you tell? Yeah, I hated it, and it's just too bad. But why did I go see this then, right? Why would I see this movie? Am I the person to ask about this one? Probably not. But this new film has an impressive look, at least. I'm going to say some positive things about it here. Nothing against the acting or the directing at all. The story was good at the start, but then it became very disappointing, I thought. It's all about the origin of the future king of the jungle, Mufasa, and Scar as well. Of course, he had a different name growing up and everything. And the question was, like, from the trailers, you watch the trailers and you go, did Scar get screwed? I don't know. Because was Scar in line to be the king and Mufasa stole it? Yeah, probably not. It goes a different way. But anyway, I don't think this movie was what anyone was really expecting. But the pointless Lion King remake from a few years ago. You know, it did very well at the box office, so of course it got a prequel in this case. And it's well performed. I just couldn't really get into it though. I was very thankful it wasn't an adaptation of a story that we already knew. But being a prequel, of course, we kind of already know what's going to happen. So we're kind of wondering, okay, when is Taka, going to get his scar on his face, and then they'll call him Scar from now on. When's that going to happen, right? It's just like the Star Wars prequels or any other movies where it's like, okay, we know when this is going to happen. We know this character's not going to die. Absolutely, and we get the origins of several characters here. But the film overall is it's just not that exciting. Not for me. Little kids might love it, but for me, it just wasn't that great. The songs weren't too memorable either, really. And that was, of course, a big part of the original Lion King. So again, it is better than the Lion King remake. I'd rather watch this than that. But still not that great. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Next up is Kraven the Hunter. No. I'm just kidding. I did not go see this. Critics I trust, several critics I trust, advised me not to waste my time or money on this, which isn't really fair to to really slam a film without seeing it, right? So I won't slam it. I won't say bad things about it. I'll just say that critics have, and that's true. It has my curiosity though now, just like other films that have bombed with critics this year. I just go, kind of want to see this now and see how really bad it is, and then I can make a top 5 worst films of the year, maybe. And I don't know, does Kraven the Hunter really deserve that? You tell me in the comments below. It's too bad the whole Sony, Spider-Man universe or whatever is kind of ending, or it has ended with this film. The last Venom film was okay, but I don't know. I may or may not see this film. I'll definitely wait for home streaming though, that's for sure, and judge it for myself. So that's it. I'll be back next time with another review video where I will look at Nosferatu and A Complete Unknown about Bob Dylan. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this multi-film review video. What did you think? Do you prefer more films in one video, like the old Siskel and Ebert style, or do you just want, one film per video? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you all have a wonderful and safe, happy New Year. All the best in 2025, everybody. Until next time, peace.